This initial study proves beyond doubt that it's a practical proposition.
Oh, it's a mighty scheme, Daniel.
Frighten you, John?
No, not me.
No, but there's them as it will.
You'll find no faint hearts here, sir.
I fancy Mr. Bradley means the railways.
They've got monopoly on transport to Manchester. They'll not give up easy.
And we'll fight them. We've always known we'd have to, and we'll win.
Exactly so.
Easy said. But you look here. London and North Western, Cheshire Lines, Great Western, they'll all be a Guinness.
Now, to say nothing of the Bridgewater Navigation and the Mersey Docks and Harbour Board.
Don't you mock. They've got clout, Daniel.
And we've got Sir Norman Truscott, MP.
Your servant in all things, gentlemen.
Oh, no disrespect to you, sir, but...
Mr. Bradley, whilst I raise your banner in Parliament, you must fire such broadsides of your own in the national newspapers that the public will clamour for this canal.
Aye. Well...
Oh, Benjamin, let the battle come when it may. Will you not look at what we've got and give us your thoughts on that?
Very pretty. What's it likely to cost?
Styles of the utmost extravagance. While London is positively ablaze with colour, such Dolly Vardens as you could wish to see. Oh, but of course the latest fashions won't have reached you yet. I was at a political soiree only last month. The wife of one of Sir Norman's parliamentary candidates was wearing a dead cat.
Oh, dear. Perhaps it is fortunate, Lady Truscott, that we have not received all of London's latest fashions.
Now, there'll be no locks until Latchford here. We shall then follow the course of the Mersey and Irwell navigation, building 2 further locks here at Earlham and here at Barton.
Only 3, Latchford and 2 more.
The Romans built in straight lines. Now, why can't we?
Because the river navigation's already there, sir, begging to be used.
And it will cost us money to ignore it.
It's going to cost us 10 million for 30 miles of channel and 3 locks.
Damn it, it's not your money, sir.
Look, there are docks to be built, there's land to be bought, there's compensation bid to be paid to the railways. You can't do it all for 10 and 6pence, Benjamin.
Mr. Bradley, I have no vested interest in this scheme, either financial or political, since I represent neither a Manchester nor a Liverpool constituency, so my opinion is unclouded by self-interest. And it seems to me that 10 million is a small investment for brave men to make in view of the general prosperity that will follow.
Here, here.
Well, that's an easy opinion for a man with no stake to hold, sir.
I can hardly hold a stake if I'm to lobby for you impartially in the House.
More brandy, gentlemen.
Yes, Daniel, I'd like a large
All
one.
the same.
She was married to a young man who had something to do with cotton. Sir Norman seemed to think it a very proper match.
Do you feel quite well, Lady Fogarty? I was just wondering how long the gentleman intended to desert us.
Oh, when men talk about business or politics, time simply ceases to exist. Oh, and let us be thankful if it means we women need not concern our heads with either.
But I am a businesswoman, Lady Truscott. In fact, I am my husband's business partner. And I have every reason to believe that at this very moment he's doing his best to ruin us. Excuse me.
Aye, you're right about that. It's not always railways, Mersey Docks and Harbour Board. It's every ship owner and docker in Liverpool out to smash us.
Yes, and you know what they'll call me? A traitor.
And why shouldn't they, Daniel? That's exactly what you'll be.
Lady Fogarty.
Indeed, Mr. Anderson. It's different for you. You probably don't understand. You're Manchester. You have mills and you're landlocked. But Daniel is Liverpool, or was.
Sir Daniel has mills too, ma'am. And they'll prosper, same as mine.
Yes, and he has a greater interest in shipyards, which will be more adversely affected, to say nothing of his obligations to his neighbours.
Elizabeth?
Yes, Daniel.
Not here and not now.
Lady Fogarty, we've neglected you too long.
Am I intruding, Daniel?
Yes.
You'll find nothing but dry money matters here, madam. What business is?
Oh, but I am very astute at dry money matters, Mr. Bradley, feeble woman though I am. And I happen to know exactly what your business here tonight is. The death of Liverpool.
Elizabeth, that's enough.
Don't presume to give me orders, Daniel. Your canal is doomed, gentlemen. Liverpool will bury it.
See, there's still no peace at Harland and Wolff.
Can you blame them? Cutting wages by 10% is nothing short of scandalous.
And what did that achieve, Elizabeth? You embarrass them, you embarrass me, and you gain nothing.
Can't you see what this will do to Liverpool?
And can't you see why I'm doing it? Liverpool has had the advantage long enough. Now, if we reduce freight charges to Manchester, cotton will flourish. There'll be more jobs, prices will come down, not just here, but everywhere. You must try not to be so parochial.
I was born and raised Liverpool. My family means something in this city. And you will be a traitor to them and me if you have anything to do with this canal.
I have no choice. Now, please, Elizabeth, let's not go to bed enemies.
If you come to my room, Daniel, the door will be locked. Good night!
I have to go to London. Well, don't you want to know why?
I'm sure I can guess.
Well, I doubt it. The South African Conference has thrown out the Murchison line. That means we have the steamships with no routes. Someone is trying to put us on the rocks. Well, I thought you might be interested. We're supposed to be business partners.
Really? I'd never have known.
Then let's stop all this nonsense.
It's not of my making.
Whoever's fought, it's time for a truce.
Whilst in London, is the South African Conference the only thing you'll be discussing?
Well, probably not.
You'll lobby support for the canal.
Perhaps.
Then I suggest you stay there.
And we've got our share of the cargoes. Beaumont won't be pleased. He was responsible for having us thrown off. Let's find some way to deal with him. Well, you don't seem much interested.
I hardly expected you to come home admitting defeat.
And what have you been doing?
Entertaining myself with a young man.
Elizabeth?
Yes, it was quite a revelation, really. He took me on a tour of his orphanage. Oh, by the way, did I say he was the director of an orphanage?
You haven't even told me his name yet.
Don't you find your knighthood somewhat tarnished, Daniel?
Well, I don't understand.
There was a girl from Latchford in the orphanage who was thrown out of her home because the land the village stood on was to be sold. Now, who on earth would want to buy an entire village at Latchford and raze it to the ground? Isn't that where you intend building the first lock for your infernal canal?
Yes, it is.
You're dispossessing people, Daniel. You're making beggars and vagrants of
It
them.
happens every day. Your concern might be more touching if it wasn't so
I
particular.
see the cost of this canal growing in terms of human misery.
You're wrong as it happens. Well, there'll be evictions when we do start, I don't deny it, but we're not buying land at Latchford or anywhere. It's too soon. We shan't be buying land for years.
Mere coincidence. Who else would be remotely interested in Latchford?
I don't know! Well, thank you for coming so promptly.
Your letter was too intriguing for me not to, Daniel.
Well, something's occurred that troubles me.
To do with the canal?
That's what it touches on that. I have a suspicion that someone is trying to cheat the company.
Good God.
Now, I haven't spoken to anyone else. I think you might be able to help me.
No, thank you. You suspect one of your partners?
Yes.
Of what?
A while ago, quite by accident, I discovered that land was being bought around Latchford, where we were proposing to build the first locks, you may remember.
Ah, yes.
Well, that struck me as something of a coincidence. Until it occurred to me that somebody who knew our plans would be in a very good position to buy land now, ahead of us, in order to sell it to the company in a few years for a considerable profit.
You're absolutely right. Have you any proof?
Well, I thought it worth a visit to Latchford. And for a small consideration, I was able to obtain the name of the company that bought the land. But that didn't tell me much. It was obviously just a holding company. And then I investigated further. And last week, I learned who was behind that company.
How very diligent of you, Daniel.
Yes. Yes, you've gone to a lot of trouble to hide your involvement.
Well, I must say, I thought I was safe enough.
Thank you. It would have taken me months to discover who owned that company, but it had to be you. I merely wanted you to confirm it.
This is a private conversation. I shall deny it in court.
We're not going into a court of law, Norman. Simply a question of whose word Anderson and Bradley will believe, yours or mine.
I'll sue you for slander.
You wouldn't dare. I'll prove you own that company if I have to.
Damn it, you all stand to make a fortune out of that
You
canal.
could have had shares if you'd been prepared to put money in. Could have been kept discreet. Now then, unless you agree to sell us all the land you bought at exactly the same price you paid for it, I'll make damn sure we change the route entirely. And I'll make your name smell like a fish dock at dawn.
Don't threaten me, Fogarty.
I can ruin you, fair means or foul. I'm a rich man, Norman. I could afford to make it my business to do so. Mr. Simmons?
Sir Daniel?
My wife tells me that you're looking for a benefactor for your new orphanage.
Yes, sir.
She urges me to accommodate you.
Your wife is a very generous, very beautiful woman, sir.
I know. Elizabeth?
Mr. Simmons.
Are you returning to the office this afternoon?
Why do you ask?
I thought you might care to go riding.
With you? I think not, Daniel.
Oh, damn it, Elizabeth, just how long is this going on?
Until either it no longer hurts or until it no longer matters.
Elizabeth, if you want me to put on sackcloth and ashes and walk through the streets of Liverpool, I'll do it.
I don't wish you to do anything, except perhaps return to London.
I'll return to Westminster only when we've settled this matter. And I'll go on telling you that Angela Taplow means nothing to me until at last you believe it.
I think perhaps I'll finish these at the office.
Hello, who is that? Oh, good Lord, what are you doing in Liverpool?
Mary, lay out my riding habit, please, and tell the groom to saddle up both my horse and Sir Daniel's.
Angela, you know perfectly well why you shouldn't telephone me. I am trying to save my marriage. For heaven's sake, Angela, yes, of course I'll see you when I return to London, but please try to understand it's very difficult to talk at the moment.
I wasn't expecting you on the floor today, milady.
No, I've just come from the office. I was wondering if perhaps my son...
Oh, Mr. Fraser was here this morning, milady, together with Mr. Samuel O'Needing.
Together?
Oh, they arrived separately. They merely met here.
And departed separately?
Yes.
I'm thinking of going away.
Oh?
Yes, for a short holiday. Oh, but of course that would mean leaving you to run the shipping lines and yard all on your own.
I'm sure I can cope, Lady Fogarty.
Yes, I'm sure you can. It's a relief to have someone I can rely on.
I do my best.
And I'm very grateful that you do. We must talk about your position and salary in the company. Yes, well, we'll talk soon, Mr. Dunwoody. William?
Thank you. Well, my boy, have you found much that has changed in the 2 years you've been away?
People, mainly.
Yes.
Some more than others.
And your first day home, has it been busy?
Considering I spend most of it outside Samuel's house trying to see Charlotte and Robert. No.
Well, you could hardly expect to be welcomed with open arms.
No. Just a degree of understanding, that's all.
William, you're expecting too much.
What? To see my own son and have a few words with Charlotte? I don't call that unreasonable.
Well, I do. You must surely admit that in not marrying her, you acted dishonorably.
No, I don't deny that.
And that all credit must go to Samuel for marrying Charlotte and bringing the child up as his own.
Yes, I do accept
And
that.
surely the only honorable thing to do is to keep out of their lives. Now, damn it, I know you won't find it
How
easy.
dare you sit there smugly talking about honor? You do well to look to your own life before you start preaching to your son.
Elizabeth?
Are you so blind you can't see the boy is simply following your pattern of behavior?
Nothing of the kind.
Oh, isn't it? You got me with child and then ran off to Australia, leaving me to marry Albert Fraser. And when you did return 17 years later, not only did you insist on seeing William, but on telling him who you were. It's history repeating itself. Only in your case, it was all very honorable, wasn't it?
Yes, because you seem to have conveniently forgotten that when I returned, Albert was dead. Now, Samuel is very much alive and he's made his wishes quite plain. Now, all I'm saying is that William should respect those wishes.
And have either of you given a thought to how Charlotte might feel? No, of course not. She is, after all, only the mother of the child, just a woman.
If you'll excuse me, I think I'll go to bed.
Something's troubling you, Elizabeth. Is it to do with William?
No.
Business?
Daniel.
Well, what?
He has a mistress, Letty.
I can hardly believe Elizabeth. Are you sure?
Yes.
No, I mean, really sure. Does Daniel admit to this?
Oh, I don't care what Daniel says, not anymore. Letty, I know.
What on earth will you do?
Well, my first thought was divorce.
Oh, Elizabeth, surely it hasn't come to that. You'd be a social outcast. It would ruin Daniel's career.
I know. It's just that in my heart, I know we can no longer live together as man and wife. Last night, only last night, we sat here and talked.
Yes.
He bought a villa. A villa overlooking the Mediterranean. Said he wanted to live there, just for a year. Here.
Elizabeth, let go. I let the tears come.
No. It isn't real. Not yet. And we must discuss our future.
No, that can wait.
Yes, Daniel, now I want to talk about us.
No, it's not the time. And what can I say? That I still love you? That you need me?
No. That's the sadness, Daniel. I've lived too long on my own. I don't need you.
Elizabeth, I do love you.
I only wish I could. Forgive and forget.
But you can't.
No.
Daniel, time like this, not much one can say.
He'd only come home for a month. Planned to settle up his affairs and then go back to France. I didn't know that. He told Elizabeth only the night before.
Talking of Elizabeth, she's going to need you now.
No.
Of course she will.
No, James, you don't understand.
I think I do. Elizabeth and Letty are quite close.
Oh.
Anyway, that's all in the past. Right now, she needs you.
No, James. Well, last night we talked for the first time in weeks. I offered to stay, but Elizabeth said no. It's almost as though William was the one bond that held us together. Though I find that hard to believe. Anyway, it's all settled. I leave for London today.
Hang on. Stay and fight.
No, it's not really something you can fight for. Can't demand love, not from Elizabeth.
Well, it's your life.
James, she won't lie down.
She says she wants to be with Daniel. Hello.
Well, best go then.
But James...
No. They need to be alone.
How long before your train?
2 hours.
Walk with me, Daniel. In the garden.
Mountains in the range known as Bulgadar. Whether I shall continue to the top, I am not yet sure. But the view I have before me, even from here, is humbling beyond words. What, you may ask, am I doing here? Absurd as it may sound, I find that hard to answer. But of one thing I am now wholly persuaded. It has much, everything indeed, to do with you. Bear with me, Elizabeth. Let me try to explain.
And the people I met were so simple in their needs, yet possessing such a serenity of spirit. I don't think I have ever felt so foolish or such a strutting impostor as I did after being with them.
Discovered subsequently that they are disciples of a prophet or a holy man called Rumi and are known as Sufis. Their path is one of love, service, and steadfast contemplation, leading them towards an inner knowledge which is like to the peace of God.
Perhaps if I had not been feeling your absence so keenly, I might not have found myself so vulnerable to them. Yet, my love, they have forced me to ask myself this one question again and again.
What in all the world is most important to me? And each time, ever more certainly, the answer is love. You. Elizabeth, my dearest wife, they have made me realize that I wish only to love and serve you.
I have therefore decided that as soon as is practically possible, I must rid myself of all shackles, professional and political, in order to be with you, if you will have me. Your loving Daniel.
My dearest, dearest Elizabeth, I can hardly wait to set pen to paper and let you share the good news I received but 2 minutes ago. A letter from Salisbury himself. He not only accepts my resignation, but much more to the point, promises faithfully to appoint my successor by next April at the latest. By the spring, we shall be together. Isn't it quite ridiculous that we have spent so many years apart? And equally ridiculous that only now have I come to realize how great is my love and my need for you. For without you, life holds nothing for me. Your devoted Daniel.
Lost by such a large amount.
Well, the country's in a very strange mood at the moment.
I tried to get him to rehearse his speeches, even his gestures. But I'm beginning to wonder now if perhaps he didn't want to win.
Oh, come now.
No, I mean that. Whenever I tried to get him to sit down and plan his meetings, he disappeared to Manchester on business.
Well, now the election's over, you'll find that life will get back on an even keel.
Oh, there's no sign of that. He's out practically every evening.
I thought I might return to the office
Thank
after
you,
this.
Gladwin.
I'll send the carriage back for you, Caroline. Will you be out riding for long?
Well, if this is Daniel's telegram, I'm afraid I won't be riding with you. No.
Steam yacht Prelude in collision with SS Orion, night of 15th March. Following extensive search, deeply regret to inform you that your husband, Sir Daniel Fogarty, must be presumed drowned. British Consul, Naples.
extinct.